You clicked the video, you read the title. Today, I'm steel manning the anti-Forsworn position. If you're looking for arguments for why the Forsworn are right, or why they deserve mercy,
The reach belongs to the Forsworn!
you are in the wrong place. This video will be 11 unflinching reasons why you should probably just wipe them all out, or at least get them under control. I've already made a video for the opposite position, and I will be making a final video where I tell you my conclusion on all this research for your next playthrough of Skyrim. So, without further ado, let's jump right in with reason number 1. They don't even know what to do with their wins. I'm going to resist the urge to walk you through all the arguments made by members of the Forsworn here. Let's just say that their argument isn't invalid. They definitely have some good points. However, after getting hyped the entire questline for the Forsworn conspiracy,
The reach belongs to the Forsworn!
you can imagine my surprise when all the Forsworn agents don't really do anything with their freedom. I mean, we'll get to the substantive arguments in just a second, but whether you're looking at this in a level-headed way or not, I was pumped when we got out of that mine. I was ready. When Thonar Silverblood was waiting for us with the guards and Madanach put them all down, I was here for it. I thought, hell yeah, let's take over the city. Then I followed some of the Forsworn and they just left. Where are they going? I thought the whole point of this was to get Igmund off the throne. Like, we're really just gonna walk away? There's a cave somewhere you have to get to.
My men and I should be in the hills, fighting.
You're serious? You guys are just gonna live in a cave in the middle of nowhere? I put this point first because I feel like it's the most important. The others are great, mind you, but seriously, why would I back a faction that never takes the W? It really seems like these guys just don't want to win. What they want is to live in the hills and murder passing traders for fun. And that begs the question, could they even do it? Because there's always reason number 2. They have no practical knowledge. Now look, I get it. Dudes dressed up in animal pelts and wielding the magic of the old gods might not need metallurgy, right? But this goes back to the first point. Can these guys ever really be victorious over an entire empire? Or over an entire system of Jarls in the world of Elder Scrolls? Can their thorny sticks really compete in a world where there are the Thalmor and they want to eradicate all mankind? They don't make nails. It's cool that their weapons are on par with elven and dwarven weapons through whatever magic rituals they perform, but, you know, just look at it. This is a stick. It's some kind of thorny vine thing. How am I supposed to root for these guys? I'm going to move on from this argument to the more interesting reasons why you shouldn't feel bad for these people, but please, just understand that it's one thing to say that these guys don't deserve, or hell, to say that they do deserve to win on moral grounds. But you should really just look at these guys, covered in animal pelts, ruled by hag ravens and Daedra, waving around sticks and bones, and just ask yourself, could they ever win? Be honest. I mean, what would the Reach look like if the Forsworn was in charge? It's easy to look at their camps and say, oh, these poor Reachmen are forced to live in caves and tents because they were forced out of the city. But then you realize they would live like this by choice. They aren't going to go build houses. They don't have hammers. They don't have nails. I don't know. I'll get off this soapbox, but seriously, they probably couldn't even win even if you thought that they should. And that's in addition to reason number 3. They love killing for the sake of killing. Now, let's get to the reasons they are bad on moral grounds, okay? The star of the Forsworn show is, of course, none other than the King in Rags himself, Madanach. He exemplifies perfectly why you could never trust the Forsworn. Let's just set the stage. You're about to leave Sidna Mine with the rest of the Forsworn there. Madanach has meticulously told you stories, real, true stories, to turn you against Markarth, and we're about to join him on his escape when suddenly...
Have you met Grisvar the Unlucky? He's rightly named, and he's also a thief and a snitch. He's outlived his minor usefulness. Take care of him, and then we can leave Sidna Mine for good.
Well, okay, Madanach, but why does it matter that he's a snitch? You're about to leave. No one's going to be watching you once we're outside the prison. You're about to take revenge on a guy who you will never see again for as long as you live. He already has life in prison. It sounds like he kind of deserves it, depending on your opinion on thievery, but you're just gonna kill him because you don't need him anymore? You want some more evidence? Well, let me paint a picture for you, see if it rings any bells for you. You come to a new town in Markarth Hold, and right as you get to start exploring, oh, a bunch of Forsworn jump you. They don't try to rob you. This isn't some sacred ritual ground. They just saw a guy who wasn't them and said,
"Oh boy, here I go killing again."
Or how about you come on some caravan? Or you come onto a village that's empty? Or you find out that a child was kidnapped for gods only know.
Our daughter, Theotra, was taken from here. The Forsworn descended and they didn't touch anything else, just our little girl.
I get that Madanach wants to paint him and his people as just people trapped in a cycle of violence, or that they're only defending themselves and somehow they're the victims. But I really think there's plenty of evidence here that the Reachmen just hate everyone who isn't a Reachman. It wouldn't matter if they were in charge or not. They just hate everyone and are going to kill them. If they somehow made a kingdom with their own government, they would certainly write a law somewhere about how everyone deserves to be dead unless they were born a Reachman. They don't really have allies, which, well, that reminds me of reason number 4. They are alone in the world. Okay. So let's say you ignore everything that I've said so far. If we're going to pretend that these guys could take over and act like they should take over, well, then what? I mean, do you think the Thalmor are going to like these guys? The Reachmen are Bretons. You think the Thalmor, who are committed to the purity of the elven race, you think they like Breton? You think they like the crossbreeds of elves and humans? I don't know if there's a list of how much hatred the Thalmor have for each race, but I'd be willing to guess that Bretons are somewhere near the top. So who else would our theoretical Forsworn kingdom have to become friends with? Do you think the Empire would do business with these guys? The Empire know the Forsworn gave Ulfric his opening to start the Civil War. I bet they hate the Forsworn with a passion. Not to mention that the Forsworn were directly responsible for killing all their spies.
I'm one of General Tullius's agents.
The Reach belongs to the Forsworn!
They have a long memory, and they will certainly remember that every time the Reach declares independence, they immediately put the Empire to the sword and cause nothing but problems. They aren't some peaceful village in the hills, after all. Well, how about the Stormcloaks? This one should be obvious. Ulfric damn near committed a genocide on them, and he only stopped because his buddy, the Silverbloods, promised to make trouble for the Empire if he would leave Madanach alive to manipulate the Forsworn.
I was captured, quickly tried, and sentenced to death, but my execution never came. Thonar's Silverblood stopped it. He wanted the Forsworn at his call, that I would point their rage at his enemies and spare his allies.
How about the other Jarls? Well, any traders from any other cities probably don't even go into the Reach, or they would risk being gutted there, now and in the future.
Traveling in the Reach is dangerous. You need a good carriage.
So just who's going to trade with these guys? The Forsworn are only kept alive because they raid on traders and villages in the Reach. If the Nords packed up and moved out tomorrow, leaving the Reach for the Forsworn, the Reachmen are just going to starve to death in their caves just like any parasite that loses their host. Unless they can eat pure magic, but that's an even bigger problem because reason number 5, they're Daedra worshippers. Now I know what you're thinking. Not all Daedra. I get it. I mean, we can also choose to worship every Daedra in the entire game, and some of them are downright pleasant. But, I mean, we all understand that they're corrupting influences, right? The main god for these people is Hircine. You know, the guy who curses a dude to kill an unrelated child because, well, that dude stole his ring.
This is the Ring of Hircine. I was told it could let me control my transformations. Hircine didn't care for my taking it, and threw a curse on it. I put it on, and the changes just came to me. I could never guess when. It would be at the worst times. Like with the little girl.
Oh, and he's also the guy who tricked the companions into going to the wrong afterlife, effectively locking them out of heaven.
The blood. We all do. It is our burden to bear. But we can overcome.
Yeah, he's also the guy who tells you to kill the only unicorn in all of Cyrodiil in Oblivion. In case you forgot, that caused a literal extinction purely for the love of the game. I mean, look, these guys use black magic, they perform blood sacrifices, they hang out with hag ravens. Do I really need to give more examples here? If these guys took over the Reach completely, it would effectively go from one of the prettiest, but albeit most dangerous parts of Skyrim, to practically a plane of oblivion in and of itself. These guys should not be in charge of watching your dog out of fear of what they might do to it. Definitely don't put them in charge of an entire hold. Their entire argument only exists because they are in opposition to the government of Markarth. And, well, that brings us to reason number 6. All the worst parts of Markarth are because of the Forsworn. Now look, I'm the one that made the video last week, okay? I understand that there are plenty of reasons to believe Markarth Hold deserves what they get. I did it. You can watch it anytime you like. Let's just say the Jarl and the Silverbloods do not deserve much better than the Forsworn. But I'm not going to get into all that here. However, have you considered how Markarth was able to become so corrupt? Ask yourself, why did Ulfric leave Madanach alive? Why did they leave Nepos alive?
He stokes the passions of the downtrodden in this city, directs them to kill the enemies of the Forsworn in our name. All from inside Sidna Mine, a Nord prison. The irony is quite thick.
And why are they together allowed to operate their Forsworn from inside Markarth? Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I mean, Thonar and his brother literally tell you why. The Silverbloods are Ulfric loyalists.
We own Sidna Mine, best prison in Skyrim, and source of half the wealth in this city. We keep the Reach safe. We flood Markarth with wealth. But does the Jarl listen to us when we want to say? No. He's busy forgetting that Ulfric Stormcloak saved this city from the Forsworn.
Even as Igmund sits the throne, shouting his loyalty to the Empire, who owns his guards.
We have nice arrangement in this city, and we're not letting you get in the way. You have a problem with that? Take it up with Madanach. I'm sure the King in Rags and his Forsworn would love to meet you.
Who owns the silver?
All the miners, farmers, and laborers in the Reach get their daily wages through us.
Who's making a protection racket out in the Reach?
The Silverbloods generously offered to send us to clean things up. We just want that old native to hand over his land in payment for our services. Then we'll leave, and everyone can get back to work.
Who owns the inn?
This is the Silverblood Inn. I'll let you figure out who owns it by yourself.
Who owns the smelters?
What? No. Thonar Silverblood owns it. He owns everything in Markarth.
And who's operating a literal crime syndicate right in the city walls?
Now we have to pin all these recent murders on you. Silence witnesses. Work, work, work.
Yeah, it's the Silverbloods. But have you asked yourself this? How are the Silverbloods able to do all that? Where does the labor in their minds come from? The Forsworn.
If someone joins the Forsworn, we haul him to the mines.
Where does the muscle they use to destroy other people's property come from? The Forsworn.
It all started when I was a boy. My father owned one of the mines, rare for anyone who isn't a Nord. He was killed. Guards said it was just a madman, but everyone knew the murderer was a member of the Forsworn. I've been trying to find out why ever since.
How do they control the workers? The Forsworn.
I get his messages, and I hand out his orders without question.
Nepos the Nose handles that part of our business. He has a way with the workers.
How do they kill Imperial spies sent to their city? The Forsworn.
A man goes crazy in the market. Everyone knows he's a Forsworn agent. Guards do nothing. Nothing but clean up the mess.
Why is everyone so afraid to speak out in Markarth? The Forsworn.
You outsiders never learn. If the Forsworn don't get you, the guards will throw you in Sidna Mine to work your fingers off.
Sure, you could probably remove all the corruption by getting rid of the Silverbloods, but you would muzzle the Silverbloods' power forever if you got rid of the Reachmen. If they had to pay normal employees, normal employee wages to get their silver, I think most of this stuff would clean up. And if you set both groups free to do whatever they want, one keeps making silver, albeit costing them more money, well, and the other one goes out and lives in the hills and attacks regular people for no reason. Really, you'd have to get rid of all of them because reason number 7, they are incapable of governing themselves. Let's return to Madanach for a second here. All throughout talking to him, he implies that he's going to unite the Forsworn and take over the Reach for the Reachmen. I mean, he's called the King in Rags for a reason, right?
Humiliating at first, but I knew he would let his guard down eventually, that he would come to trust I was under control. Some of us refused to bow. We knew the old ways would lead us back to having a kingdom of our own. This is where it will begin. A new uprising.
We're supposed to imagine a prosperous kingdom set up for the Reachmen, just like I said in last week's video. Well, here's the problem. That's not what he does. I'm not sure he could. See, Madanach presents his people as though they are, well, his people. But they aren't. Not really. Once you let him wander his way out into the hills, you can go there, and you have a bed waiting for you, and, well, somewhat friendly people. You can basically LARP as a Forsworn. Just one problem. The rest of the Reach is still a death trap for you. Why? Because the Forsworn isn't a clan. Each Forsworn clan is its own clan. They have no unified government, no king regent. They are a ragtag group of independent families. Some worship a Briarheart, some worship their local Hagraven, some worship Madanach, some are committed to their Daedra they follow. They could never form a government because they could never agree on what that government should be. The gods they worship don't all even follow the same teaching. I mean, it's all out there in the open. They are barbarous by design. Let's say that Madanach did sit the mournful throne after you free him. I bet the Reach would look exactly the same as it does now, with random clans attacking random people whenever they want, killing families and stealing children. If you want peace, letting them rule themselves ain't the move. And that's nothing on the next thing of reason number 8, empowering the Reach means war. This goes along with reason number 4, but it goes even deeper than just not having allies. I already pointed out that all 3 ruling factions, plus the Jarls, have no love for the Forsworn, but in addition to the Empire, the Thalmor, and the Stormcloaks, all refusing to trade with the Reach in case of their victory. Do you really think these people are just going to stand by? If the Stormcloaks win, do you really think Ulfric isn't going to just come back to the Reach and finish what he started 25 years ago? If the Empire wins, do you really think Tullius won't just take the long way home to Cyrodiil and put down the second uprising in Skyrim on his way home? And if they somehow didn't, what then? The Reach just stays independent? Don't you think the Thalmor would love to take it over? No one will care if they declare war on the Reach. If it's an independent nation, no one's going to come to their aid. Hell, Hammerfell and High Rock might be feeling a little expansive if they find out that Skyrim just lets cities declare independence. If you let people declare their independence and you're a united bunch of kingdoms, well, then everybody knows that they could just send some spies to your city, get it to declare its own independence, and then take it over. That's why you don't let people just leave. That's why states can't just declare independence from the United States. The Reachmen will never respect any government authority, including that represented by other Reachmen. So why would any other government respect their right to autonomy? It stands to reason that no government will allow them to exist in its borders, which means if the Reach actually does become a kingdom, it would be a target from every direction. And speaking of the disrespect for government authorities, that should really be its own reason number 9. They are terrorists. Look, I don't want to get controversial here, okay? I understand that real-world politics are much more complex than the best writing that Skyrim has to offer. But just think critically for a minute. A terrorist is definitionally a person who uses unlawful violence, intimidation, and fear, typically against civilians, to achieve political, ideological, religious, and social goals. Now, doesn't that just define what the Forsworn do? However justified you think it is for the Forsworn to commit these violent acts, you must also understand that they're just gonna keep doing it. They will never stop with the violent acts, not under any circumstances or victory conditions. You literally cannot have peace with them. If you stay, they'll fight you. If you make them your ruler, they'll attack you until you leave. If you do leave, they'll expand their borders until they become a problem again. If you refuse to fight, they will continue to expand until they own everything. And if that ever happened, and Tamriel was just full of Reachmen, then they'd just be terrorists to each other. Divide what a Reachman is down until there's only one guy left. You can't negotiate with them. They will continue until you or they are dead. And honestly, that's a good reason to cut it off now, because even if you decided to help them and give them the capital of the Reach, there's always reason number 10. Markarth would ruin the Forsworn. Let's say you gave in, and you let a king sit the mournful throne in the name of the Forsworn. These guys, being terrorists, would immediately lose their edge. You know why the US lost in Vietnam? There's probably more than one reason, but I would say one of the biggest ones is that they didn't have anywhere to point the giant guns. Sure, the United States had Vietnam outgunned every which way, and they tried to Agent Orange the entire country, but in the end, they realized they couldn't kill every single farmer in the middle of nowhere. And no matter how many times they killed their leaders, the Viet Cong had another farmer in another rice field somewhere to carry on with its pit traps and Kalashnikovs. This is the Forsworn as they exist now. No central location, no central leadership, just dudes out in the hills ready to kill and take anything from someone who wanders their way. If they did decide to take over Markarth, well, that would change, wouldn't it? Suddenly, everyone would have a giant target to point their weapons at. The Reachmen might not use catapults or steel weapons, but you know who does? Well, pretty much everyone else. Anyone who would march on Markarth. The silver is just too tempting. You'd turn any capital the Forsworn decided to rally behind into a meat grinder, and that grinder would just keep churning until everyone was dead. And even if they did win, there's still reason number 11. There's still the Dwarven ruins. Now, this one isn't all the Forsworn's fault, alright? I mean, the dwarves haven't been around for almost 4,000 years, but for the sake of a simple argument, let's just give them the W, alright? The Reachmen have taken Markarth, they've defeated all their enemies, they've united under a single person who sits the mournful throne. So far, so good. I mean, they settled Markarth in the first place, so you could call this their ancestral home. But one of the first things that happens when you go to Markarth is...
The excavations into Nichuanzel are dangerous. Dwemer machines and traps still function, even after thousands of years.
And if you talk about it, you can go down to the Dwemer city under Markarth. And you know what you find down there? It's still crawling with automatons, workers, spheres, centurions. Hell, even the Falmer and the spiders are still alive and kicking down there because no one ever bothered to clear them out. So in addition to all the enemies these guys have above ground, there would be another enemy waiting for them under their feet, meaning this city could never really be theirs anyway. And unlike Markarth as it currently stands, who has an investigator looking into the Dwemer ruins and a bunch of guards waiting at the Dwemer ruins, the Forsworn don't believe in going underground. So they just try to leave it alone and hope the dwarven things don't come out. And there you have it, everybody. 11 reasons why the Forsworn winning is a nonsense position. But that's just what I noticed on my latest playthrough. Did I miss any points? Throw them in the comments. Like I said, I made a video last week about all the reasons the Forsworn do deserve to win. And I'll be making one more about the objectively correct take next week.
To help you remain tranquil in the face of almost certain death, smooth jazz will be deployed in 3, 2, 1.
So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I make weekly Bethesda content, and every video is better than the last one. So subscribe, and shave Sisto Ravenrock into your local feral cat. It really helps with the channel. And until next time, I'll see you around.